One Zambia, one nation. From ZANIS studios, we bring to you ZANIS News, and I'm your presenter, Twambo Siavwapa. First, for the headlines, President Hichilema urges labor unions to ignite economic productivity. Chadiza records over 2,000 cases of sexually transmitted diseases. Government concerned with the damage to school infrastructure. And war fence at Kasama Sports Stadium collapses. And now the news in detail. President Hakainde Hichilema has called on labor unions in the country to encourage their members to increase production. And President Hichilema has commended the Commonwealth Partnership for Technology Management, a company based in the United Kingdom, for its plans to invest in Zambia's agriculture sector. President Hichilema made these remarks today when he met the two teams at State House. Jen Simalumba reports.
President Hakainde Hichilema today met the Zambia Congress of Trade Union board members at State House. During the meeting, President Hichilema called on the labor movement to encourage its members to work hard and increase productivity.
We need to increase productivity. She talked about it. We need to increase productivity. We need to work hard, Mr. President. Personally, I come from a professional hall, and I'm not happy with the way we work as a country, as a people. We're not working hard enough. In all sectors, we are not producing enough. Our productivity levels are too low. We need to work together and find a way of lifting this.
President Hichilema also called on trade unions in the country to work together with government and other stakeholders if the working conditions of employees are to be improved.
We must work together. Government, unions, employers, we are in this together. So, what else? I think a 24-hour economy is inevitable. In sectors where we can do that, in factories, labor becomes important, Mr. President. I think, Minister, I don't know if you touched it, the emphasis where we're trying to see that we can value add, again, to grow the economy. We can create additional jobs in the same factory through shifts, isn't it?
Minister of Labour and Social Security, Brenda Tamba, underscored the strides made towards improving employees' working conditions.
For the workers' benefit, during your tenure, the PRP, the famous partial withdrawal that you promised the people of Zambia, the workers of Zambia, you actualized within the very first year of your tenure, of this government's tenure. The workers have received something good. Mr. President, 5 years has lapsed because of COVID. Minimum wage was not executed according to the 2-yearly prescription or provisions of the Act. But now the minimum wage has also been given.
We call for more funding to the Ministry of Labour. In the past, this ministry has not received more funding. And we believe if more funding is given to the Ministry of Labour, it will be able to carry out its mandate. And this is a very crucial ministry.
President Hichilema later met a delegation from the Commonwealth Partnership for Technology Management, a company based on the United Kingdom.
And we're proposing 2 projects which we believe will align very well with Your Excellency's vision and passion for Zambia in the field of agriculture. The 2 projects are both focused on increasing smallholder yields and productivity and profitability.
For us to increase overall production, but to do that we want to look at productivity increase. We're producing 2.8 tons per hectare for maize in a country where we should be doing 9 tons per hectare. So your initiative is important to us. That's a message.
Jane Simalumba, ZANIS in Lusaka.
Still at State House in another development, President Hakainde Hichilema has called for more investments between South Africa and Zambia in many areas in order to promote economic development. Speaking when outgoing South African High Commissioner to Zambia, George Twala, paid a courtesy call at State House, President Hichilema noted that South Africa is the largest trade partner for Zambia in Africa. Sande Bwalia gives us details in this report.
President Hakainde Hichilema has called for more investments between South Africa and Zambia in many areas of the economy, especially technology, mining, and agriculture, among others, in order to promote economic development. Mr. Hichilema says Zambia and South Africa must scale up collaboration in technology, mining, and agriculture to improve trade between the two countries. Speaking when outgoing South Africa High Commissioner to Zambia, George Twala paid a courtesy call on him at State House today. Mr. Hichilema said South Africa is the largest trade partner to Zambia.
Why do we want our people to move? Is to interact. What else? Is to invest. Is to invest with each other. A number of SADC citizens have investments in South Africa, you know that. Yes. And the opposite is welcome. We want investment, we want growth. When all our economies are growing, there'll be more stability. But more important, the message I would like you to carry to the President, he knows my views already. We need to change the regional agenda items when we meet SADC, for example. Let's push more of economic-related agendas.
And outgoing South Africa High Commissioner to Zambia, George Twala, commended the President for increasing the Constituency Development Fund.
I know, Your Excellency, you've already raised the CDF 16 times, 16% higher. So at least issues of poverty and unemployment would be able to be resolved.
Meanwhile, President Hichilema has commended Nigeria for the continuous cordial relations that exist between the two countries.
That we need to deepen our relationship. Yes, the people to people is there, but our bilateral historical relationships is there. But what next is to deepen investments, to deepen trade relationships. I think that's then what waters, that's what anchors other aspects that require financial support, require moral support, and to encourage us, Zambia, Nigeria, Zambia, to work together at the regional level, at the global multilateral level. When we are required to do things together, I think we want to continue cooperating between our two countries and on the continent.
And outgoing Nigerian High Commissioner to Zambia thanked the Zambian government for the care and love they render to the Nigerian community.
I enjoyed every bit of my stay in Zambia. Zambia, I think, is one of the most hospitable countries in Africa. So where we are here, we fraternize with the citizens, and they are friendly too. And I must also wish to convey our government's gratitude to you.
For ZANIS in Lusaka, I am Sande Bwalia.
And on the unfortunate incident at Senseli Mine, Tovin Ngombe reports from Chingola on the Copperbelt province that the rescue team has devised another plan to ensure the remaining trapped miners at Senseli Mine are retrieved. Zambia National Service Colonel Chishala Mulenga said the rescue team will use drilling machinery to access the tunnel so that the trapped miners can be retrieved. And Mines and Minerals Development Minister Paul Kabuswe notes that the rescue operation has become delicate and that the team is cautious in order to avoid another accident. From Chingola, we take you to Geneva, Switzerland, where Vice President Mutale Nalumango has held a closed-door discussion with the United Nations Human Rights Commissioner, Volker Turk, at the United Nations office. The Vice President described the meeting with the UN chief as beneficial to Zambia. Meanwhile, the high-level human rights event in Geneva has closed with a call to the global community to prioritize protection of human rights and individual freedoms. Victor Mwila reports.
The United Nations building in Geneva has been bustling with activity, but with one agenda: protection of human rights and individual freedoms across the globe. In his busy schedule, the United Nations Human Rights Commissioner, Volker Turk, has found space to hold a closed-door meeting with Vice President Mutalena Lumango. Following the engagement, the Vice President described the private meeting with the UN chief as useful and beneficial to Zambia.
He is aware of the debt burden. You may say, what has debt to do with human rights? Because human rights are not just a legal matter. Human rights means people living meaningful, enjoyable life. And therefore, if you are living in poverty, what is human right? There is no human right there. So these human rights you saw here, this conference, was not just addressing the legal issues. Which legal issues, for example, in my country, are in the statutes, right from the Constitution, in the Bill of Rights. But it is bringing them down to fulfillment. And this is his concern. That goes right into the economy, like I've said. So we are grateful that we did meet. We brought to the fore a number of things that we are doing ourselves. You may think free education. What is free education? It's a human right.
Meanwhile, the Human Rights 75 high-level event in Geneva has closed with a call to the global community to prioritize the protection of human rights and individual freedoms.
Human rights is a global public good, and as leaders, you are entrusted with the duty of advancing it. First, peace and security. Every individual has a right to live in peace, and all human rights measures ultimately contribute to preventing tensions and conflicts.
150 countries and several human rights defenders have made pledges to commit to safeguarding human rights and individual freedoms in states globally as part of a new vision to revitalize the universal human rights put in place 75 years ago. The UN will now, in the next 2 days, focus on the plight of refugees globally, during which Mrs. Nalbango is scheduled to address delegates. Victor Mwila for ZANIS News in Geneva, Switzerland.
Minister of Defense Ambrose Lufuma has urged the defense and security forces in Malawi and Zambia to enhance their capacity to detect and fight terror attacks. Speaking in Malawi during the official opening of a ministerial meeting at the 18th session of the Malawi-Zambia Joint Permanent Commission for Defense and Security, Mr. Lufuma said the two nations' sustained peace attracts threats of terrorism, hence the need to be vigilant. Sifue Mwangala with details.
Zambia and Malawi are determined to create a secure future for the two countries, as evident by the annual holding of the Joint Permanent Commission for Defense and Security sessions. The sessions, which alternate between the two countries, have this year been held in Malawi's Mongochi town. During the official opening of the ministerial meeting, Zambia's Defense Minister, Ambrose Lufuma, emphasized the importance of both countries being vigilant to attacks.
You will agree with me that because of the sustained peace and stability that we enjoy, our two countries have continued being attractive destinations for terror groups to conduct planning activities aimed at furthering their interests. It is therefore imperative that we remain vigilant and enhance our capacity or capability to detect and fight this scourge, more so that some of our neighbors are experiencing adverse impacts of terrorism.
And Malawi's Defense Minister, Harry Mukandawile, called for innovations to curb security vices at the border.
Some transitional crimes, including illegal migration, human trafficking, border violation, smuggling of goods, and illegal wildlife trade, among others, continue to pose a threat to the security and stability of our two countries. The persistence of these transitional threats demands continued innovation and collaboration in the security operations of the two countries.
Sifue Mwangala, ZANIS in Malawi.
With that report, we take our first break, and when we return, Chadiza records over 2,000 cases of sexually transmitted diseases.
The Civil Service Commission invites applications from suitably qualified serving officers and the general public to fill vacant positions under the Zambia News and Information Services ZANIS, Ministry of Information and Media. Job title: Principal Operations Officer, 1 vacancy. Department: ZANIS Headquarters. Job purpose: to supervise the provision of engineering and public address services in order to facilitate the dissemination of information. The applicants must meet the following requirements: Grade 12 school certificate with a minimum of 5 credits, including English language and mathematics or its equivalent. Bachelor's of Engineering degree in electronics or its equivalent. 6 years working experience and member of the Engineering Institute of Zambia. Job title: Senior Maintenance Engineer, 1 vacancy. Department: ZANIS Headquarters. Qualifications: the applicants must meet the following requirements: Grade 12 school certificate with a minimum of 5 credits, including English language and mathematics or its equivalent. Bachelor of Engineering degree in electronics or its equivalent. 3 years working experience and member of the Engineering Institute of Zambia. Job title: Maintenance Engineer Equipment, 1 vacancy. Department: ZANIS Headquarters. Qualifications: the applicant must meet the following requirements: Grade 12 school certificate with a minimum of 5 credits in English language and mathematics or its equivalent. Bachelor of Engineering degree in electronics or its equivalent. And member of the Engineering Institute of Zambia. Job title: Marketing Officer, 1 vacancy. Department: ZANIS Headquarters. Job purpose: to undertake the marketing and sale of ZANIS products and services in order to create awareness and facilitate revenue generation. The applicants must meet the following requirements: Grade 12 school certificate with a minimum of 5 credits, including English language and mathematics or its equivalent. Degree in marketing or its equivalent, and member of the Zambia Institute of Marketing. All applicants must be lodged directly to the Civil Service Commission to the following address: the Civil Service Commission, New Secretariat, P.O. Box 50138, Ridgeway 15101, Lusaka. Applications must be submitted together with detailed curriculum vitae, certified photocopies of national registration card, academic and professional qualifications to the address given above. The closing date for receiving applications will be Friday, 15th December 2023 at 17 hours. People with disabilities are encouraged to apply. Note that only successful candidates shall be contacted. For news and current affairs, entertainment, sports, children's programs, and a host of other events in and beyond our borders, ZANIS TV has you covered. On Channel 6 and Channel 458 on Topstar.
ZANIS News continues, and now Chadiza district has recorded over 2,000 cases of sexually transmitted infections in the last 9 months, with teenagers being among the most affected. Ministry of Health District Adolescent Focal Point Person Mavuto Nkua confirmed that 789 sexually transmitted infections are from people aged between 10 to 24 years. From Chadiza district, Jubiel Zulu reports.
In the last 9 months, Chadiza has recorded about 2,015 cases of sexually transmitted infections, with ages cutting across 10 to 25 and above years. This is not all, as the district has so far recorded over 1,310 teen pregnancies.
The district has been recording high numbers of teenage pregnancies, STIs, and many other problems that people are facing. As Chadiza district, in terms of teenage pregnancies, from Q1, we recorded about 490 teenage pregnancies. Q2, we reduced a bit to 390, and then in Q3, we went up again to 427. And this is not a good picture for the district.
Teenagers are aware of this and now share the reasons behind the increasing rates.
taphunzira pepse matenda monga syphilis, gonorrhea, HIV and AIDS na aya matenda mwe amayatengera kugonana mopanda chitetezo. So that kuti usurvive aya matenda kufunika wa using a condom or wachitsa circumcision.
Stakeholders are worried, hence the effort to reach the teenagers.
We have come up with this program to make sure that these children or that are in school and those that are out of school at this period, that we can be able to give them information on issues to do with HIV, AIDS, and reproductive health rights, even protecting themselves from acquiring STIs.
Mangini maphunziro amene taphunzira taona kuti muli phindu maphunziro amene komanso ndiye kuti mwina wana wanga amene ali area yakuno vangatolepo maphunziro ena amene iwo yazawathandiza kufika mpaka na kuwateteza kumatenda osiyanasiyana. Opeza ni zambiri zamene taphunzira koma nizionera kuti zonsezo vana amenewa vatolamo zambiri.
Jubal Zulu, ZANIS, Chadiza District, Eastern Province.
Still on health and still in the Eastern Province, a civil society organization has commended government for enhancing support to civil society in the fight against the spread of HIV/AIDS among adolescents and immigrants in the region. Chisomo Community Program Director Annie Chiseni says the Ministry of Health has been supportive in ensuring that immigrants across border areas access sexual reproductive health services for free. Speaking at an HIV/AIDS Knows No Borders training in Chipata, Ms. Chiseni said this has reduced the spread of HIV/AIDS. Details in this report.
In an effort to curb the spread of HIV and AIDS amongst immigrants and adolescents in border areas in Eastern Province, Chisomo Community Program, in partnership with the International Organization for Migration, IOM, and the Ministry of Health in Chipata District, is supplementing government's effort through HIV Knows No Borders, a project whose aim is to ensure immigrants have equal access to health care services, especially on sexual reproductive health rights.
And we are doing this to supplement government. And as it is here in Eastern Province, we know that the Mwami border is one of the borders where migrants cross every day. And they need this information for them to access the service where they are in Eastern Province. And we want to thank the government because our relationship with the health facilities in Eastern Province is very positive.
And Angela Zimba, a health specialist in Chipata District, has acknowledged the positive outcome of the HIV Knows No Borders project.
It's one of, I think it's the best training because it has made us aware of offering a service to everyone regardless of where they're coming from. Yes, and then I think as a facility we've started the program already because one of our community-based volunteers has been trained in the same.
Meanwhile, the health specialist has urged some immigrants and adolescents who still fear to seek health care services to start going to the hospital when unwell.
So far we have an increased number of immigrants seeking health services to our facilities, such as in terms of family planning methods, then antenatal care, as well as HIV. As I'm speaking now, we have clients who are enrolled into care, that's in HIV care, of which they are accessing the services without any fear. They are coming at any time, even approaching the health staff.
From January to December 2022, Eastern Province recorded more than 700 HIV and AIDS-related deaths and more than 1,000 people are on the antiretroviral treatment. Patso Dimbani, ZANIS News, in Chipata District, Eastern Province.
And still on health, this time in Muchinga Province, the Ministry of Health is delighted with the construction works at Kasoka Mini Hospital in Isoka District being financed using the Constituency Development Fund CDF at a cost of 2 million kwacha. Muchinga Provincial Health Director David Silwea is impressed with the workmanship by the local contractor engaged to carry out the works. Miriam Kumwenda has the details.
Infrastructure development has continued to be fostered through the Constituency Development Fund and the engagement of local contractors. One such development is the construction of this main hospital in Isoka district, whose works have related the Provincial Health Office. Dr. David Sweya, who is the Provincial Health Director for Muchinga, has since thanked government for the massive infrastructure development under the Ministry of Health in the province through the use of CDF.
We are really thankful to His Excellency Republican President Mr. Hakainde Hichilema. We are also thankful to our Honorable Minister of Health, Madam Sylvia T. Masebo, for the support that we are receiving of infrastructure development in our ministry. When we empower the local communities and the local contractors themselves, we empower them with such projects and they are able to come out with a very good workmanship project like this one we are seeing behind. It's really gratifying on our part. And this actually, in the process of devolution and decentralization of health services, is the way to go.
The ministry in the province is expectant of more infrastructure development with the increase of CDF next year.
We are very excited that we will see a lot of facilities constructed in these areas that were hard to reach, where the kilometers between the community and the nearest health centers were quite huge. And now that we are narrowing that distance with construction of these facilities, we are very excited. And today, as I sit here as Provincial Director from Chinga, it's something that brings a lot of joy to my heart, knowing that we are safe with the kind of construction that we are seeing mushrooming and those that are coming from CDF.
The contractor is optimistic of completing the project on time.
We commenced the works in July, in the second week of July, and according to schedule, we are supposed to finish the works by the end of December.
Miriam Kumwenda reporting for ZANIS in Isoka district, Muchinga province.
In other news, the Ministry of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development says it has engaged the National Council for Construction to ascertain why roofs of schools keep getting blown off. National Council for Construction, NCC Executive Director Paul Makasa, says due to the recurring incidents, government wants the solution to be found to the problem. And in a related development, heavy rains and strong winds blew off roofs of 2x2 classroom blocks at Gali Basic School in Monza Central constituency. District Commissioner Mwanza Malambo has since called for renovations of all old buildings in the district to prevent further damage during the rainy season. Details are in this report.
Heavy rains accompanied by strong winds have blown off rooftops of 4 classrooms at Gali Basic School in Monza Central constituency. Monza District Commissioner Mwanza Malambo and Monza Town Council Chairperson Poyo Mutenguna inspected the school to appreciate the damage.
See, these are the 2 blocks. I'm sure they need attention now. Where the challenge is that now, under the CDF, we have a program for CDF that we need to revive a number of projects, go back and look at the things which have been destroyed. So there's a drawback actually. We appreciate some of these buildings, our old buildings, they've been there before, and many of these they need revamping. Yes, if we are to save, other projects for the good of other projects in other parts of the district.
And looking at the situation which is here, it needs a full rehabilitation. Because most of our classrooms and staff house in Monza district, they were constructed a long time ago. And all their palings, they are eaten up. And they used to roof using timber. So we are going to assess it and write a report and send it to DMMU, one to the province and to the HQ. We are aware that schools will be opened in 3 weeks' time from now. What we are going to do is we are going to make sure we just patch up, return all those burned-off iron sheets when we are still waiting for any funding from any ministry, so that we can do the full rehabilitation. At the moment, as a ministry, we have to make sure we work on this together with the CDF so that children, by the time they open, they'll be able to learn.
Village headmen are excited about government's assurances to work on the damaged classroom blocks before schools open next year.
Inuja tukomania chaguti ba DC aba council chairperson abamwi ibabwe ne mayaga hulumene mbwaenda bahambana gutubira agubora kuyibona tulima simpe uti kunyinda peziriti begira hambana gubambwa.
Frederick Macha reporting for ZANIS in Monze District, Southern Province.
We take another break, and when we come back, a wall fence at FIFA-funded Kasama Sports Stadium collapses. Stay tuned.
The Civil Service Commission invites applications from suitably qualified serving officers and the general public to fill vacant positions under the Zambia News and Information Services ZANIS, Ministry of Information and Media. Job title: Principal Operations Officer, 1 vacancy. Department: ZANIS Headquarters. Job purpose: to supervise the provision of engineering and public address services in order to facilitate the dissemination of information. The applicants must meet the following requirements: Grade 12 school certificate with a minimum of 5 credits, including English language and mathematics or its equivalent. Bachelor's of Engineering degree in electronics or its equivalent. 6 years working experience and member of the Engineering Institute of Zambia. Job title: Senior Maintenance Engineer, 1 vacancy. Department: ZANIS Headquarters. Qualifications: the applicants must meet the following requirements: Grade 12 school certificate with a minimum of 5 credits, including English language and mathematics or its equivalent. Bachelor of Engineering degree in electronics or its equivalent. 3 years working experience and member of the Engineering Institute of Zambia. Job title: Maintenance Engineer Equipment, 1 vacancy. Department: ZANIS Headquarters. Qualifications: the applicant must meet the following requirements: Grade 12 school certificate with a minimum of 5 credits in English language and mathematics or its equivalent. Bachelor of Engineering degree in electronics or its equivalent. And member of the Engineering Institute of Zambia. Job title: Marketing Officer, 1 vacancy. Department: ZANIS Headquarters. Job purpose: to undertake the marketing and sale of ZANIS products and services in order to create awareness and facilitate revenue generation. The applicants must meet the following requirements: Grade 12 school certificate with a minimum of 5 credits, including English language and mathematics or its equivalent. Degree in marketing or its equivalent, and member of the Zambia Institute of Marketing. All applicants must be lodged directly to the Civil Service Commission to the following address: The Civil Service Commission, New Secretariat, P.O. Box 50138, Ridgeway 15101, Lusaka. Applications must be submitted together with detailed curriculum vitae, certified photocopies of national registration card, academic and professional qualifications to the address given above. The closing date for receiving applications will be Friday, 15th December 2023 at 17 hours. People with disabilities are encouraged to apply. Note that only successful candidates shall be contacted.
For news and current affairs, entertainment, sports, children's programs, and a host of other events in and beyond our borders, ZANIS TV has you covered. On Channel 6 and Channel 458 on Topstar.
ZANIS News continues. Minister of Technology and Science Felix Mutati has praised the Chinese government for its massive contribution to the Zambian economy through an investment of over 75 billion United States dollars in various sectors in the last decade. Mr. Mutati says the cordial bilateral relations that exist between the two countries have enhanced countrywide economic development in various sectors. The minister was speaking during the 2023 Chinese Chamber of Commerce in Zambia annual gala dinner in Lusaka. Mijelo Mwemba with details.
Zambia has continued to enjoy a cordial bilateral relationship with the Republic of China, and this has seen Zambia benefiting from an investment of over 75 billion United States dollars in various sectors to boost the economic status of the nation since 2014.
Zambia was the first country in the southern part of Africa to establish diplomatic ties with the People's Republic of China. In 2023, a new chapter was opened in the relations. His Excellency President Hichilema paid a historic and successful state visit to China from September 10th to 16th at the invitation of President Xi Jinping. This trip served the purposes of deepening traditional friendship, strengthening political mutual trust, and promoting all-round economic cooperation. In the Chamber of Commerce in Zambia, we realized our vision to create a business environment conducive to the suitable and sustainable development.
Minister of Science and Technology Felix Mutati, who graced the 2023 Chinese Chamber of Commerce in Zambia annual gala dinner, says China's trade and investment cooperation plays a critical role in the development of our country.
As at 2022, the Chinese and Zambian two-way trade has continued to register upward growth, reaching a record of $6.73 billion. We need to identify other opportunities to enable Zambia beat the current net export of $2.26 billion.
Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security Jack Mwimbu, represented by Immigration Director General, has assured the Chinese Chamber of Commerce in Zambia of looking into their various concerns.
I wish to inform you that we are currently carrying out a number of institutional reforms in the Department of Immigration. And as we do that, we shall seriously consider some of the concerns raised by the Chinese Chamber of Commerce. For instance, some of the issues raised are being discussed already in our current review of the Immigration and Deportation Act.
Various stakeholders participated in this important event, including the wonderful group of companies, Zambia Association of Manufacturers and Absa Bank Zambia Limited. Mijelo Mwemba reporting for ZANIS in Lusaka.
Thank you, Mijelo Mwemba, for that report. Now, Lusaka Province Permanent Secretary Robert Kamalata has encouraged the provincial leadership to embrace the regular review of various governance documents regulating government operations. Mr. Kamalata stated that the review of documents such as the proposed amendment of the National Planning and Budgeting Act No. 1 of 2020 is aimed at ensuring that the country's development is rooted in a coherent and transparent framework. Mr. Kamalata was speaking during the official opening of the Provincial Consultations and Review of the National Planning and Budgeting Act No. 1 of 2020. Attended by Lusaka Province heads of departments and other stakeholders at the Mulungushi International Conference Center. The Permanent Secretary called for a comprehensive review of both domestic and international laws that could influence the draft bill. Mr. Kamalata commended the heads of departments and other stakeholders for attending the meeting, adding that it was through open dialogue and collaboration that challenges and opportunities surrounding governance documents can be tackled.
Therefore, the review of the National Planning and Budgeting Act is an opportunity for us to assess its impact on our province and consider avenues for improvement. We welcome your insights, suggestions, and constructive criticism, for it is through open dialogue and collaboration that we can refine our legislative framework to better address the evolving challenges and opportunities that lie ahead of us. Yes, we are here. Not everything that we say should be yes and amen. It shouldn't be like that. Where you feel we can make some changes, it is in such a forum that you come out and speak. And the President talked about it yesterday.
We are all aware that the world we're operating in is constantly evolving. Things are changing. And while we have certain persistent development challenges as a country, we face new challenges that demand innovative solutions. In this respect, we are providing a platform for you stakeholders to engage and address some of the emerging challenges like climate change, like technological advancement, so that you have a planning and budgeting process that is holistic.
Minister of Local Government and Rural Development Gary Nkombo says there is need to develop measures to eradicate illicit alcohol consumption if the country is to realize the desired socio-economic transformation. Mr. Nkombo observed that illicit alcohol consumption has been a perennial problem in Zambia and requires a multi-stakeholder approach to resolve it. Here is a report.
Consumption of illicit alcohol is one of the vices that pose a danger, especially to human health in Zambia. Common among young people is the intake and abuse of cheap illicit beverages that have not undergone proper quality control measures, leading to severe health complications. Lukulu Member of Parliament Christopher Kalila, who is also a practicing doctor, sheds more light on the vice.
The age at which some of our youths are introduced to alcohol consumption is actually very sad. Some of our learners are actually abusing alcohol in the form of these same juntas and so on and so forth. There are so many health effects. You know the effect on the liver. Okay, you know that 20% of these people drink actually end up in hospital. We know it's alcohol, but there is no consistency in levels, in terms of alcohol levels in this, and it comes in many forms, the way it's brewed and so on. So in short, it's not fit for human consumption.
Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, Gary Nkombo, says there is need to develop measures to eradicate illicit alcohol consumption if the country is to realize the aspired socio-economic transformation.
It's a big problem. It's a huge countrywide problem in our society where people have decided, let's ignore this. It's their life, I've got mine. But the ramification to ignoring such is that, society comes in harm's way, becomes unsafe. We are all in the world trying to build resilient and safe cities.
Owing to the above, the Center for Primary Care Research, in collaboration with other stakeholders, carried out a study on the impact of harmful consumption of illicit alcohol.
The effects of illicit alcohol has got a ripple effect in the sense that it increases the availability of cheap alcohol in the communities, making them accessible, affordable, and this increases the consumption and then results into the comorbidities and also deaths. But also, we are talking about the health aspect. We can also pitch on the government aspect where it robs the government of the tax revenue that was supposed to have been collected.
Other stakeholders would like to transform the research into action by creating the first ever National Coalition Against Illicit Alcohol.
A coalition which brings in all different actors is an ideal solution. It will give us different and sometimes conflicting perspective of the society, multiple solutions to tackle the issue, agility and a collective voice.
Bope Center for ZANIS News in Lusaka.
On environment, the Ministry of Green Economy, through the Ecosystem-Based Adaptation Project, has intensified training communities in Kanchibia district on climate change. Team leader EBA focal point person Takla Kafwimbi said the objectives of the training is to enhance knowledge on the effects of climate change and find solutions on how communities can restore the ecosystem. And finally on ZANIS News, a portion of the wall fence at the FIFA-funded Kasama Sports Stadium has collapsed. Northern Province Permanent Secretary Bernard Mpundu, who visited the site to check on the extent of the damage, expressed disappointment with the poor workmanship and the delays on the project. The project, whose work has stalled for months, is part of the stadia development that the Football Association of Zambia is implementing with support from the World Football Governing Body, FIFA. And that report brings us to the end of ZANIS News. We take a look at the stories that made headlines. President Hichilema urges labor unions to ignite economic productivity. Chadiza records over 2,000 cases of sexually transmitted diseases. Government concerned with the damage to school infrastructure. And war fence at Kasama Sports Stadium collapses. And on that note, we come to the end of this edition of ZANIS News. From me, Twambo Siavwapa, and on behalf of the entire ZANIS production team, it's bye-bye. Join us next time.